I think you just need to have the financial side of it, whether that's sponsors. 90% of those kids out there are family money paying for it. It's one of those things you just got to accept at this point, and everyone's like, oh, they don't deserve that ride, or they don't deserve to be there. And you're like, well, they deserve it because they're paying for it.
Hailie Deegan and Toni Breidinger. From Hailie's dirt track origins and debate on nepotism, to Toni's dual life as a racer and a model. How do they stack up against each other, against the pressures of the spotlight, and against the legacy of icons like Janet Guthrie and Danica Patrick? Get ready to experience the adrenaline, the strategy, and the sheer passion of two of NASCAR's most electrifying talents. But before that, do subscribe to the channel, and for more in-depth analysis, subscribe to the newsletter. The 22-year-old Hailie Deegan has appeared in 4 Truck Series campaigns in the past and races in the Xfinity Series now. Deegan was the 2020 ARCA Menards Series Rookie of the Year and also finished 3rd in the point standings, but had only 4 top 5 and 17 top 10 wins. She also won the Most Popular Driver Award in the Truck Series in 2023, the 3rd time in a row. The next contender in becoming the popular driver of NASCAR is Toni Breidinger. She currently competes in the ARCA Menards Series under Venturini Motorsports. Last season, her step toward triumph at the Kansas Speedway was a game-changer, marking her best ever finish on the track, with 3 top 5 finishes in the season that captured everyone's attention. She is yet to make her debut as a full-time racer in NASCAR. However, racing is not the only reason Toni has so many fans. She is a Victoria's Secret model and has worked for many elite brands, upholding a unique blend of career choices. Interestingly, while Hailie has seen significant success in competitive rankings, Toni's popularity on platforms like Instagram has created new opportunities for sponsorships and partnerships, showing just how crucial media savvy has become in this sport. On the track, their paths are also diverging. Do you know NASCAR is dying? We need your support to make NASCAR cool again. 99% of you aren't subscribed yet? Your support drives us to the finish line. Subscribe today. Hailie's transition to the Xfinity Series marks a critical step in her career, aiming for higher stakes and tougher competition. Meanwhile, Toni continues to make strides in the ARCA Series, with her sights set on breaking into the Truck Series full-time. Both drivers not only bring skill and determination, but also a spirit of innovation to a sport that's as much about personality as it is about performance. Both Hailie and Toni have taken the racing world by storm, not just on the track but across social media, challenging traditional narratives and bringing a fresh wave of enthusiasm to the sport. Hailie Deegan, known for her aggressive style and racing pedigree, has been a fan favorite, clinching the Most Popular Driver Award in the Truck Series 3 times in a row. On the other hand, Toni Breidinger, with her unique background as a model and racer, tops the social media charts with millions of followers. Her association to the fashion world has opened the door for many sponsorship deals from lifestyle and fashion brands, which is quite an interesting addition to a long list of brands associated with NASCAR. Their appeal isn't just about their skills behind the wheel, it's also about how they connect with fans off the track. Hailie leverages her racing lineage and gritty persona, while Toni brings a crossover appeal from the fashion world to the racetrack. Female drivers often face unique challenges, but they also bring new perspectives and fan bases to the sport, which is vital for its growth and evolution. The role of social media cannot be underestimated either. For drivers like Hailie Deegan and Toni Breidinger, platforms like Instagram and Twitter are not just about sharing personal moments, but are crucial tools for building their brand and engaging with fans. Toni has 2.6 million followers, whereas Hailie has 1.6 million followers on Instagram. These platforms are game changers, enabling drivers to connect directly with fans and sponsors, turning traditional marketing on its head.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like a lot of people are like, oh, pay less attention to social media and focus more on racing. But it's like, I can't go racing unless I have sponsors behind me. And exactly, they look at social media. So, I mean, there is definitely a fine balance to it, but I'm not going to be at the racetrack without my partners, and they're not going to be with me without my social media. So they all kind of go hand in hand, but I do feel like outside looking in, some people don't always understand that whole aspect of it all.
Both Deegan and Breidinger represent a new wave of talent in NASCAR. They're not just racing against the stereotype of nepotism, they're also challenging the norms of a sport that's ripe for change. Talking about nepotism, NASCAR has always been a family affair. Names like Earnhardt, Petty, and Gordon remind us that racing talent often runs in the family. But there's a fine line between a familial leg up and outright nepotism. Where do we draw that line in the high-speed world of NASCAR? Nepotism can be a double-edged sword. It opens doors for some, but can also lead to perceptions of unearned opportunities. It's all about balancing legacy with meritocracy. One driver who's been vocal about the impact of family ties is Hailie Deegan, daughter of the motocross legend Brian Deegan. Hailie has made headlines, not just for her aggressive driving style, but also for her candid discussions about the role of family support in her career.
It's hard to say because the biggest thing for any driver is financial side. Either some drivers have very successful parents that can pay for their racing. My dad is very successful, but not NASCAR successful money. He's very successful in the moto world. So he definitely helped me get started in racing when I was in my lower teens, but at some point you have to have money to keep going. And so I was able to bring upon a lot of sponsors, and he's had a lot of great relationships. I was able to have those sponsors and have those relationships already built to where they kind of transferred over on my side. I have got a lot of help from my dad growing up in the ranks, but I think you need to have the financial side of it, whether that's sponsors. And I think at this point with racing, you have to just kind of accept the family money side of it, because 90% of those kids out there are family money paying for it, even in Xfinity. So it's one of those things you just got to accept at this point. And everyone's like, oh, they don't deserve that ride, or they don't deserve to be there. And you're like, well, they deserve it because they're paying for it. So what do you expect? I don't know if it's your family paying for it or getting sponsors. And I think it's how you market yourself on social media is the best way, at least how I've done it, because I wouldn't be racing without the sponsors that I have. Like, I don't have that family money to pay for racing. So I would say that building your social media is the best way for a female to be in the racing world, which it is fairly easier for a female in racing in the car world to build their social media. So I think that side of it is that what you can utilize to continue to start getting into racing and marketing yourself to bring partners along.
Hailie's perspective highlights a reality many face in this sport. But it's not just about having a famous last name. It's also about leveraging that name to build relationships and secure sponsorships. While nepotism plays a role, there's also the challenge of breaking gender barriers. NASCAR's history with female drivers has been sporadic at best. From pioneers like Janet Guthrie to icons like Danica Patrick, women have been pushing boundaries in a predominantly male sport. As we look to the future, the question isn't just about who deserves to be here by lineage, but who can drive NASCAR forward, literally and figuratively. The answer? Perhaps it lies in the hands of those who can steer through the challenges both on and off the track. But how do they compare to the trailblazer Danica Patrick, who arguably set the stage for female drivers in NASCAR? Danica Patrick wasn't just a racer, she was a brand. Despite mixed results on the track, her marketability was unmatched, paving the way for drivers like Hailie and Toni to make their mark. Danica broke barriers and faced intense scrutiny, something Hailie and Toni are also navigating, but with the added pressure of social media spotlight. While it's great to see that Breidinger and Deegan are the most popular superwomen in NASCAR, it's also a sign of the continued growth of NASCAR, with more of its drivers getting more recognition. As we watch their careers unfold, the question remains, who will be the next to truly break through and shine in NASCAR? And how will their rivalry and friendship evolve in this high-speed world? What's your take on the rise of Hailie and Toni in NASCAR? Do you think they can reach new heights and etch their names in history? What do you think about nepotism in sports like NASCAR? And what's your take on the rise of female drivers in the racing world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for more interesting stories and updates from everything NASCAR. Do share the videos with your friends. Until next time, keep the conversation going on. Lucky Dog on Track.